And with a different perspective, joining us next to further explore the Hunter Biden allegations, as well as those against former President Trump, we had a chance to sit down with A. Scott Bolden. He's the former chair of the Washington, D.C. Democratic Party and former chair of the National Bar Association PAC. A. Scott Bolden, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Bolden, if I could just get your thoughts, kind of post-mortem, the Trump indictment, the arraignment. We spoke to you that day. You were somewhat underwhelmed. Just give us your overall high-level overview.
Well, the power of that day was the historical nature of the indictment and the arraignment of a former president. That wasn't underwhelming. I think the indictment itself, some 30 counts plus fraudulent mishandling of documents or changing documents in furtherance of a crime, which is essentially the sum and substance of the indictment, that was underwhelming politically because you would think that it would have included conspiracy and racketeering, which would have been a very complicated indictment, and you'd have to have a speaking indictment and really connect the dots. That would have gotten the government out of the political criticism of that this is all about Stormy Daniels. But make no mistake, this is a simple indictment. It's got 31 counts, I think. And in that indictment, all they've got to do is prove fraud, that in fact these business records were altered in furtherance of another crime. What that other crime is could be state or federal campaign finance violations. It certainly feels like money laundering because they were trying to hide the money, the payment to her, but you could have in furtherance of a conspiracy, tax violations as far as filings of state and federal taxes. And so there's a lot of crimes out there that this act of misleading or changing these, altering these documents could be in furtherance of. The government was really smart here in not defining or indicating what that crime or crimes could be. But at some point in time, before the judge or the jury, they're going to have to identify those crimes and prove those crimes as well in order to show furtherance of why these business records were altered.
When it comes to, equal treatment, equal justice, President Biden and Hunter Biden, what do you say to that viewpoint?
Well, you've got to let these investigations run their course, and the facts drive these investigations and potential charges, not politics, right? I hear elected officials talk about the facts and, they're on the Hill and they're doing these investigations and they're sharing all this information. There's so much more to a criminal investigation than political statements or one document, if you will. Those documents and those witnesses who are against the Bidens, that has to be tested and cross-examined and corroborated. If you're not doing that, then no one is below the law. But you have to raise everyone to the same standard, and you can't go after Hunter Biden and you can't go after President Biden without having the facts, without having corroboration, and without being convinced that the law, the elements of the law, are supported by the facts. You apply the facts to those laws, and then it's up to the prosecutor, with their discretion, as to whether they can prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, whether it's Donald Trump or Hunter Biden. It's the same standard. And fortunately, you can't get around that standard. So all the Republican complaints about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden got it. And they want to investigate, they want to investigate. But up to this day, every investigatory body that's looked at Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and the allegations about China and what have you, none of them have found it necessary to bring indictments or to independently investigate them. That's pretty powerful, because these are systems where you had a Republican administration when those issues were given life, and now you have a Democratic administration, DOJ, which is an independent agency. I believe that. I practice before them all the time. I go against them all the time. And so it's not an equal assessment. It's not a fair assessment, right? It's not comparable. But sit tight. If they do get indicted, if there is evidence supporting Hunter Biden being indicted or charged, I'm pretty confident the special prosecutor or DOJ will bring those charges. There's no reason for them not to do their job, despite politics.
A. Scott Bolden, thank you so much.
Thank you.